Welcome back to Tao of Twang. I'm Dave. Now, this is a little follow-up from that lesson a couple days ago, and really it's a giving back to you. What I just played was sort of a montage of ideas that you all came up with in the comments about that last lesson. I also put a little 4-minute version of that loop up, I think a day, like last night or something. So if you look at it in order, you'll see those. I'll also put the loop on the end of this one for practice. If this is your first time, then great. So what we did was we had a progression a couple days ago that went D, a couple measures that in 4, down to that A minor. Throw a little beat on there, a little bass line, and we just looped that, right? Thing I just played over. Now, I didn't tell everybody what key it was and kind of challenged everybody to leave comments about it and stuff, and it was great. And so many of you, came up with that G major, 100%, right? We kind of did some work that last time to exclude why D major wasn't really appropriate for this, didn't really fit, but a D with that flatted 7, right, which happens to be the same note as the minor third in the A minor, kind of fit the thing together. And that happened within the context of the G major continuum, the river of G major. So, once that was established pretty well in the comments, then there were some other theories. If you dig around in there, people started to kind of build off of that and come up with different ideas. Well, hey, what A Dorian? Can we do that? Of course, right? There. Now I kind of put that root right in front of it there, so you can kind of hear that it's a continuation of that G major sequence of notes. But if you start on the A, the second degree of that G major, the minor 2 chord, triad, and that mode that goes with it. Great idea. So I tried to do a little bit of that in that opening today. This is going to be a short one because I'm just going to show you kind of just add a couple of pieces to all that work that we did on the one a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen that one, it would be worth the 13 minutes or whatever to check that one out as well. So, the big one that came up that I feel is really important to this piece is the D Mixolydian, because it accounts for that flatted. Now, I'm not playing a D7 chord in the track because I didn't want it to sound that bluesy. I just wanted it to sound more kind of like a straight rock sound. But that note is really important in this little study. So we got G major, A Dorian, D Mixolydian. See what happened? I didn't say all of these things when I presented that lesson. This was stuff that twangers, as some of you have nicknamed yourselves, came up with, and that's really cool. So this is kind of bringing that back around to you. Now, one thing I did in that demo was this time I played a lot of things in this position. D major pentatonic. I did mention that in the first video, and that's still a big part of this. Right, but putting those extra notes, kind of that. Especially some of that modal sounding stuff over that A minor sounds really good. Then kind of coming back to that D, more solid major pentatonic. That's just one kind of arrangement idea. One that I like a lot because I like to really do something that's really, meat and potatoes, and then a little sparkly, right? Right? You see how those kind of going back and forth with that, taking a bite of this and a bite of that. It all tastes better to me. So here's a couple of ideas. One was pick kind of a place that you want to kind of hang out. I just like that. That's rock, blues, southern rock. That's just a real comfortable place for me. So now if I fit those, I want to take those modal sounds though and kind of work it in there with it. And it's okay to, move around and change positions. But the challenge here would be to, well, how can I, what are those G, that river of G, how does that sit right here in this position? Okay, there's a really concise pattern for that. I'm not gonna necessarily draw it out, but you can just find a G. And if you make a mistake, your ear will catch it, right? Okay, now put that track on, and I won't go fast, but I'll just show you what I mean by kind of doing this alternating between that D major pentatonic and some of that G major river of G, our home major key. D major pentatonic. Okay, I went out of position there. You're gonna do that in your own way, in your own time, right? Because you're gonna go back to stuff that you already have in your playbook and in your muscle memory. I like to slide down to that root. Be the same as that note, but you get a little more out of it sometimes. Now, one thing that I think you can do right away, and like I said, I'm going to keep this one pretty short, but over that A minor, yeah, maybe that'll be our trivia question for today. What chord is that? Right there. Yeah, there's a hint. It's some version of, but it's got an extra chord tone there. What's that chord called? And watch this little move. So it's just a C triad, right? The higher half of that. And I'm sliding. I just like that. You can do it like. Oh, well, yeah. There's a colorful note. Not sure if that was the one where I meant to slide up. You might get away with something like that if you do it at the right moment. Let me put the track on and do some slow couple times around with that. Okay, now you go slow like that, it, you're going to start making some different pathways branching off of that, right? And get into that sound and really do kind of a simple rhythmic motif at first, right? Do something that's, just a lot of even playing. There's a little D triad. You see what's going on? I'm kind of substituting that C where that A minor is in the progression. Those two are very interchangeable, right? Theory-wise. So one more thing I want to show you. I know I said I was going to keep this one short. Was come up with little patterns that are repetitive for that scale. Right? And those aren't just patterns there's good patterns to practice, but those are musical things when you kind of use little segments like that to get to one target tone and one part of the progression to another. And that stuff can really work. And if you embellish that with some hammers and some different rhythmic stuff, that can really be, nice sounding. Snuck a couple of my licks in there at the end. But that's what this is all about. I'm going to turn my guitar off and I'll get you to that practice loop in just a second. It's just taking little bits and pieces of knowledge and new skills, working it into your stuff that you're already using, and then really getting it into a piece of music right away, right? Those of you that are really disciplined with your practice, and I have so much respect for that. I wish I'd done more of that when I was younger or whatever. I it was pre-YouTube. We have this much information coming at you. It's really empowering, but it's also, like choose your battles. And this is just a little bit of few words of encouragement to get it right into playing something that feels good to you, right? That's why I always try to do it with the track throughout the lesson, and not just kind of here's lick number 1 and number 2 and so on and so forth. I enjoy some of that stuff from time to time, but really trying to support your discovery, but give you things that you really want to know. And that's why I made this one today, to sort of come back and build on the feedback that I got a few days ago from that lesson. Hope that works out for you. Let me know how you're doing. Talk to you next time.